Hey guys, I'm Coach Christy and this is Vanna. Today we want to talk to you a little bit about a fairly basic concept when it comes to horsemanship and horse training. And it gets said in a lot of different ways by a lot of different people. But if you're in the realm of using pressure and release, you've heard some variation of the words make the right thing easy and the wrong thing uncomfortable, right? So what I want to make sure that we're clear about is that when we do the wrong thing, when the horse is doing the wrong thing, right, when they're doing something that wasn't exactly what we had in mind, our goal is to stimulate the nervous system to get outside of their comfort zone into what I like to call the trainability window. Once they're in the trainability window, then I want it to feel good to do the thing, right? So if they get their feet in motion and the direction that they're taking their body is what I had in mind, then I want that to be pleasing to them and to me. And the way that I do that is by making sure that the way I ask them to do that is refined and comfortable, but also that I deliberately have a joyful feeling. When the right thing is happening or when what I see is matching up with my mental picture, I'm going to deliberately feel happy about it. And in doing so, I teach my horse to seek the harmony with me, because being in harmony with me feels good. Getting out of harmony with me will just be bothersome. I don't want her to feel miserable or for her to, wish for it to be over or anything like that. I just want her to be bothered when she gets out of harmony with me. So, we do a lot of teaching folks in all realms of horsemanship about the release teaches, but the release can happen in motion. Anytime I take away the aversive, right, the annoying thing, the pressure, it should feel good. So that lets my horse know that they're on the right track, but it doesn't always have to mean stop moving your feet. All right, so I'm going to do some basic yields, hindquarters, forequarters, go and back up, and then I'm going to put them together in a flow and talk you through it as we go. So Vanna's going to help me show you a few of those basic concepts. Okay, so to start with the hindquarters, I want to make sure that she consistently knows that it's easy to read me. And one way I do that is to make sure that I'm very consistent and clear about when my life is up and I expect her to move, and when my life is down and I just want to be friendly and canoodle. I call that shields up and shields down. So I like to come in here to the middle here. This spot right over the break of the withers is a magical place where if you hang out here, you have a good chance of establishing neutral. Right? It's not so far in front that you might drive her backwards, and not so far behind that you might drive her forwards. Right here at the break of the withers, along the slope of the shoulder, is a good neutral place to be friendly. It's a good place to reach for first when we pet them. It makes sense to them in horsey body language to reach for their wither before reaching for their face. So I'm going to establish a nice halt here. She's good to go. I don't sense any tension or worry about me being here. Now I'm going to bring my life up, take a big step out to the side, and start stepping towards her hip. Now she's doing the right thing, so I don't have to do anything to make her uncomfortable. But I don't necessarily have to stop asking her to move her hip, right? This should be good for her. We're in harmony together. It feels good to me. I have a happy feeling in my belly about it. Okay? That's it. And the next thing I might want to do is ask her to yield the forehand, individually, separately. Good girl. She licked and chewed there, so that lets me know that she was out of her comfort zone, but I don't think she got into self-defense. She's in that window of trainability, that magical place between the sympathetic nervous system, which is the part of her nervous system that gets engaged when she thinks she needs to defend herself or protect herself, and the parasympathetic nervous system. The ventral parasympathetic is where social engagement happens in rest and recovery. Sometimes if we're fully in the ventral parasympathetic, there's not a lot of responsiveness. But if we get too far into the sympathetic, right, if we get her popped into fight or flight, then she's going to get reactive instead of responsive. So there's this magical land in there between the parasympathetic and the sympathetic, and I am going to start calling that the window of trainability. So I need her to be alert, but not defensive, okay? Relaxed, but not asleep. All right, so I showed you what it looks like if I was going to yield her hip. Now I'm going to yield, she wants to give me keys. Now I'm going to yield her front end, okay? So if I put myself at an angle like this versus getting way back here, then when I step to her, it'll make more sense to her that I want her to move her front but not go forward. So the shoulders didn't move there, so I bothered them when they weren't doing the right thing, and now I feel happy when they do the right thing. Good. I like it better when when the foot closest to me crosses over the outside foot. But that was all really good. Happy feelings, okay? So hindquarters, I'm going to step to the hip. Forequarters, I'm going to get at an angle that's a bit like this. So it helps her understand that I don't mean go forward. Now, let's talk about forwards and backwards. It's a really small space in here, and I deliberately wanted to show you this in my barn. It's about, this aisleway is probably about 15 to 17 feet wide and about 30 feet long, 25 to 30 feet long. And it's snowing outside right now. There's 2 foot of snow in my arena. It's February 19th, 2021. So it's not the greatest day to be doing things outside, but every yield that I can develop with her that gets to this pleasing place, counter conditions brace. Counter conditions her working against me. So I'll take it every 5-10 minutes here during feed time. If I can get a few of these basic yields, it'll make it so that when I am able to get back in the arena, it won't feel like we've backslid quite so much, okay? So if I want her to back up with me, again, I have to be real clear about I'm relaxed, nothing's happening, you can stay in your comfort zone, all right? So shields down. Then I'll bring my shields up and I'm going to say, okay, get into your window of trainability, be alert but not afraid, okay? Then from here, if I can stay somewhere either at the slope of the shoulder or in front a little bit, I can start sucking my energy back. And if she comes with me, like my good little pony, I just feel happy. If she didn't come with me, I just would give her a little tap on the chest there. And then to go forward, I would tap behind. Good. So you can see there, we were on the edge of her window of trainability. She was almost reactive instead of responsive. And it might be because we're in a squeezy place and she's a really forward horse. So I want her to know that I noticed that. She's gotten a little starry-eyed, like a little not blinking very much. So I'm just going to hang out with her for a second here. I want her to know that even though I'm thinking about making this recording, her comfort and understanding is more important to me than this video. If she needs me to stand here for a couple of minutes, there we go. Worst case scenario is I just edit out a couple minutes out of the video. So there we go. She's back into the parasympathetic, the ventral parasympathetic, because she's licking and chewing, right? So when she gets into that window of trainability and beyond, like especially way out into the sympathetic, into fight or flight mode, the nervous system starts directing resources towards essential systems for self-preservation. One of the systems that doesn't need that is the mouth. The mouth needs to stay closed so that they can optimize the amount of air they bring in through their nose. The mouth, horses don't breathe through the mouth. They can't breathe through their mouth. They can only breathe through their nose. And so if they're producing saliva and licking and chewing, that it parts their lips and they're not as efficient at getting oxygen into the bloodstream. So when she relaxes enough to lick and chew again, then I know that we've come back to the ventral parasympathetic. Okay, so rest and recovery and social engagement. She's looking to, be buddies with me, so that's nice. Get a little sugar. Okay, let's try that again. I'm gonna, very clearly go from shields down to shields up, and I'm gonna give her a good opportunity. See, I'm not too quick because I did a lot of talking there. I'm not too quick to insist on her staying in harmony with me. when she's on the wrong track, I'll make that uncomfortable, and when she's doing the right thing, I'll make it pleasurable, right? I'll have a happy feeling, and hopefully be refined in how I'm asking it for her. I don't want her to feel pressure while she's doing the right thing. I make that sound sometimes when I have to bonk her. That's a girl. Because I don't want her to feel like she got in trouble. Good girl. So what she tells me right now is to go forward and backward. She would prefer to be a little farther away from me. Hopefully she's still in the shot. I'm going to back her up again. Good. And now go forward. Yay! Okay? So that all feels really nice. And if I wanted to keep it interesting, that's good. I can then start putting some of those yields together in a sequence. So a sequence that makes a lot of sense and that sets their body up to be able to do the right thing is I'm first going to yield the hindquarters, then I'm going to yield the forequarters, and I might finish it with a backup. And I finish it with a backup with her because she's innately a very forward horse. And it's just in an effort to try to balance those two things out. So let's see what we got here. If I can put it together in a flow so that it feels like we're dancing together a little bit. Okay, same deal as at the beginning. I don't want her to get ahead of me, so I'm going to stay here and wait for signs of relaxation. She still seems a little bit tense. See how she's not blinking very, very much? It's coming around though. Yeah, my girl. You're okay. We're just messing around. Nothing we do is serious. There we go. That's my girl. I gain a lot of, friendship points with her, a lot of credibility with her when I let her know that I noticed that she got tense. That's my girl. I don't want her to feel like her feelings aren't important to me. I want her to know that I'm paying very close attention. I notice when your eyes stop blinking or when you get a little tense in your mouth or your breathing gets shallow and rapid. I want you to know that I notice those things and it matters to me. When I do that, then she'll trust me to notice things in the big, wide, scary world. But if I'm not observant enough to see those things in her now, then I won't have credibility to guide her and keep her safe, out where things can get, who knows what, like out in the trail or, going someplace different, things like that. I want her to know that I'm paying very close attention. There, her eyes are softening now a little bit. That's my girl. Her breathing has gotten deeper. I'd kind of like to see a nice deep sigh or a lick and a chew again before we move on. There she goes. Good deal. Okay, so shields are down. Nothing to be responsive to right now. Right? Now shields are up. Big step to the side. Step to the hip. So I want the hip there to go enough that the front end stops moving. That allows me to invite the front end to come around. And when she crosses over nicely, I'm going to turn my belly button forward and back up. Good girl. Notice how I kept my stick low and even, good girl, close to my side. Horses are really, their vision is very different to ours, and for the most part, they see the world a lot more blurry than we do because they have monocular vision, right? One eyeball at a time. So it's the reason we can focus in on things so clearly if you have good vision, right? Is because we have binocular vision. Both eyeballs work together to provide, a more detailed picture. So one of the things that's important to horses are silhouettes. And when I move my stick out here, she notices that, and I want her to know that I'm only going to do that when I intend to do something with my stick. If I want my stick to mean nothing, what I can do then is keep it close to me. It meshes in, it blends in with my silhouette, and it makes it a more neutral presence, okay? So let's demonstrate that sequence one more time for you, and then we'll wrap this one up, all right? I'm going to do hindquarters, forequarters, and then back it up. If she's doing the right thing, I'm going to have a joyful feeling. And if she gets out of harmony with me, I'm just going to tap her with this stick. Whatever body part that got out of harmony with me, I'm going to tap it. And I'm going to tap it every 3 seconds until it gets back into harmony with me. If I tap, 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 then I'm more likely to pop her into the sympathetic nervous system and get outside of our window of trainability and into where she's just thinking about defending herself. Okay, so again, I'm going to come back here to the wither, nice and friendly, nothing to be done right now. Take a big step out to the side and step to her hip. Again, I want the hip, yes, to move enough boop, that the front end stops moving forward. There we go. And then I can invite the front end to come around. When she crosses over there, then I'm going to ask for the backup. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, so I hope that gives you a few things to think about, guys. Just a little bit of what might seem like not a whole lot, but can build up to lots of great things. There's a lot of principles of horsemanship in those few minutes of just some basic yielding, and I hope you found it useful. I'm Coach Christy, and if you enjoyed this video and would like to learn from me on a more regular basis, please check out my website at www.thecoachchristy.com. I would love to be your coach.